bring in retired Army Major General William Enyart. Major General, thanks so much for joining us this Saturday evening.
Good to be with you, Alex.
As we just heard Libby Dean report, President Trump ordering these strikes against the Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen. Why now, sir? And what message is being sent?
Well, I think the message is being sent is to stop attacking shipping in the Red Sea and don't launch any attacks, any more attacks against Israel. It's also an indirect message to Iran, although he certainly voiced a direct message to Iran. The question is going to be how successful these attacks are. It's you've seen Israel virtually level Gaza, yet they've yet to destroy Hamas. Simply attacking with the aircraft, you can damage infrastructure, but it's awfully hard to hold ground. There's only one way to hold ground, and that's with boots on the ground.
We do know the Biden administration launched multiple airstrikes against Houthi rebels also when they were in the White House. Do we see this as a continuation of those airstrikes, or is this President Trump flexing his own muscles and showing that there's somebody new here that's running this country?
Well, I think it's certainly a continuation of the same policy against the Houthis. Trump may put a different voice to it, and his folks may put a different voice to it. But nonetheless, you're seeing the same actions being taken by the U.S. Against the Houthis, and that is airstrikes on them.
Sir, you mentioned the direct message to Iran. I'm not sure if we have that quote that we can pull it up, saying support for the Houthis must end or the U.S. will hold Iran fully accountable. There you see President Donald Trump's Truth Social post. Support for the Houthi terrorists must end immediately. Do not threaten the American people, their president, who has received one of the largest mandates in presidential history, or worldwide shipping lanes. If you do, beware, in all capitals, because America will hold you fully accountable, and we won't be nice about it. Do you see this as a stepping stone to bigger military action against Iran?
Well, President Trump is well known for putting out, shall we say, bombastic tweets. And I guess that's a truth. Truthism, truth socialism.
Truth social, but we get what you mean, sir.
It's no longer a tweet.
Yeah.
I've been saying for the last several years that the way to stop Hamas, the way to stop Hezbollah, and the way to stop the Houthis is to cut off the supply of arms and their support from Iran. Iran clearly foments a lot of these problems and certainly supplies all three of those groups with weapons and with advice and with training. If you cut that off, that will certainly interdict their ability to strike. It probably won't eliminate it, but it will certainly cut that way back. So while you might not want to directly attack Iran, certainly by interdicting the supply routes from Iran into those militia groups, whether it be Hamas, Hezbollah, or the Houthis, I think would be a good thing.
Sir, while I have you, let's get your opinion and expertise on another conflict in the Middle East. Hamas today says it will not release an American Israeli and the bodies of 4 other hostages unless Israel allows its ceasefire deal to move forward. Hamas clearly in this moment believes that they hold the leverage here, but do they really?
Well, the question of how much leverage either side holds is an interesting debate. Certainly, they no longer hold nearly as many hostages as they did. Many of the hostages they hold are dead. So really, they're holding dead bodies, and the question is how much will that leverage work against Israel? It's interesting that the Trump administration has directly negotiated with Hamas. Generally, the United States does not negotiate with terrorists, and we have done all of the negotiations with Israel thus far. And certainly with Egypt and as well as UAE in dealing with Hamas, so we've certainly seen some changes there. Frankly, I think their leverage is diminished with the fact that many of these hostages have already been turned over. But of course, there is a great deal of domestic pressure in Israel on Netanyahu. the domestic pressure, the families certainly have not let up on Netanyahu and will not.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.